Team cheer. Okay. Team Fearless on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Team
Fearless! Let's freaking go. This is Fraud to Fearless.
Friends, you are made for more purpose, more confidence, more impact. Because when you live fearless, you inspire others to do the same.
Let's go.
Welcome, everyone, to the pod. Brooke, why is today special?
Today is such a special day. We have the one, the only official Team Fearless. We're pumped. Welcome to the show, you guys. We're so happy to have you here. This just feels like coming home from the beginning. This time has flown, Hayden. This time has flown.
Yeah, it's flown. So my two thoughts of why today is special. One, this is a new record for Fraud to Fearless. Do you know why? We've never had 6 people on a pod, which is super cool. And then number 2, shout out Logan Anderson for this amazing Team Fearless swag. So we're going to get this intern episode started off on the right foot because this elite group of interns came up with that tagline. So without further ado, let us have the interns introduce themselves to Fraud to Fearless family. So Casey, let's start with you. Why don't each of you do introduce yourself, like your name, your major, what you're studying, like what year you are in school, and give us a dream.
All right. So I'm Casey, and I'm right now for majoring, I'm pre-business, but I'm wanting to do experience design and management at BYU. And I would say my dream would be to work at Disney and be an Imagineer. That would be amazing. I think that would be super cool. Just being involved with with experience designing experiences in like workplace and business and making it better. But yeah, I think my dream would probably just be anything with making experiences better and more positive for people in whatever way I can.
Hayden, the experience design program at BYU is incredible. So if you're at Disney and you're listening to this, look Casey up on LinkedIn, right? This is awesome. Share your dreams loud and proud. Love it, Casey.
I'm James Mabry. I'm a sophomore at BYU. I am a pre-business major. I'm applying to the strategic management program this summer, basically dealing with big business problems. A dream of mine is to teach my future family how to rock climb.
Wow.
Yes. Okay, but what kind of rock climbing? Is this bouldering? Give us some details on this.
Outdoor top rope.
I'm Rose. I'm a junior studying economics, and a dream that I feel like I never want to stop learning. So I feel like a dream is to always be able to learn something new every day throughout the whole rest of my life. I really don't know where I want to go career-wise. Like I have a dream of having a family, I guess, one day, but really just to keep learning and to never stop growing.
I think we should all have that goal.
Yeah, I'm thinking strengths right now, and I'm wondering, learners got to be up there. And we've seen that skill and that gift come out throughout this internship, I think. So beautifully said.
I'm Tyler Fillmore. I'm a junior. I'm also pre-business. I'll be applying to the accounting program. I think the ultimate dream, I thought a lot about this question. The ultimate dream for me would to be Batman. Not necessarily as like a crime-fighting vigilante. No, I'm serious. Because in Batman's world, he's just a dude, right? In a bat costume with like all these gods and superheroes and like crazy powers, but whatever he wants to do, he just does it. Like doesn't matter how much it costs him or like how much training he has to do or like how impossible the feat is. He's like, I understand I'm just a man and I don't care, but I'm gonna do this like Herculean feat. So I want to be able to do that.
Hayden's
What a unique
speechless.
what a unique set of dreams. We got rock climbing, we got having a family and forever learning, we got Batman, and we're going to work at Disney. That is an elite group of dreams, y'all.
Today, team, we are talking about what? The theme is fraud to fearless, imposter to empowered, and work, life, and relationship. You've done such a beautiful job of introducing yourselves. Today, we want to talk about what happens when people step into something new, feel completely unqualified, but we choose to do it anyways. You guys have seen it. We've all seen it. Let's be honest. We've all lived it. And now we're sitting at this beautiful end of a chapter with a team that did it. So today we want to dive into your stories. We want to talk about what you learned, how you've grown, and what it looks like to actually push through imposter syndrome in a very real sense, right? So, Hayden, I think it would be fun to kind of hear some stories from the team, maybe about a time that they felt imposter syndrome. It can be in this internship, it can be outside of this internship, but tell us about a time that you felt imposter syndrome, if it held you back, and what was the impact on your life?
I work as a TA right now, a teacher's assistant for physical science. I started that job back in the fall semester, and I had taken that class in the winter semester. So there's about a 3-month gap from when I started as a TA from when I finished the class. I did not remember enough for it. And so my responsibility was to help students understand content in the class. And I did not have a good grasp of the content at that point. It had been way too long since I was at the beginning of the semester covering beginning of the semester content. And it was intimidating as I had students coming to me asking me questions, and I definitely felt like an imposter because I didn't have answers a lot of the time, and I had to like think things through again. And so it was kind of difficult because I felt like I wasn't able to help them properly. And so this imposter syndrome came into play. My response to that was I was trying very quickly to become competent. I was reviewing course material. And I also got okay with saying, I don't know. Let me go ask another TA and see if they can help you out where I can't. And it helped me understand that as I talked with other TAs about this, they also had similar things where they're like, yeah, sometimes I don't know either. And I just send them to a different TA, or I like have ChatGPT open helping me answer questions. And so as I kind of pushed through that, I felt more comfortable helping students and also just saying, I don't know. And that's okay not to know sometimes.
It takes such courage to actually say those 3 words, I don't know. Why is that so hard? Because I think when we have these opportunities, it shows weakness. It shows a vulnerability. And are people going to judge us? Are we going to look a certain way? How did you get the courage to be able to say those words? Did it come easily in the moment, or are you just like, okay, I just got to be straight up? I don't know.
I think the biggest help in me being able to say I don't know was talking with other TAs, because I recognize that we all had similar feelings of sometimes we just don't know. And so it kind of gave me the space to say I don't know, because other TAs acknowledge that we're human, right? This is a natural thing for us not to know some things.
Yeah. And Hayden, I feel like this is something that we see all the time in corporate America, in entrepreneurship, whatever else. There's these moments where we literally don't know, but there's this pressure that we feel like we have to know everything.
One thing I've been reflecting on, so I'm on week 2 of a new job. So I just started a new job, and this is a very different role for me. So I don't have experience really in the team that I'm leading. So this is a big jump. and it's week 2, and I'm still doing my old job, and people are coming to me for this new job and expecting me to be the expert in everything. And as you continue to move up, it is very difficult to tell super senior people that you don't know. And you have to do that very politically correct. But one of the things that I've been reflecting on that's really been an anchor for me in moments like this, like James, like what you were talking about, is the idea of a treadmill. Because sometimes in corporate America, or being an entrepreneur, it is difficult. Generally, you feel like you're just a machine. You're like another employee as part of this broader organization, and you need to operate like a machine. Like, you show up, you have to like do your job every day. You have to do it perfectly, and you never get to any grace to make mistakes or to learn. So it's hard to not feel like you're a machine sometimes. But y'all, even machines need a ramp up time, like a treadmill. So if you're walking at 3 miles per hour on a treadmill and then you hit the 10 button and you're going to do an all out, it doesn't immediately go to 10. There's a ramp up time where it goes from 3 to 10. That's like starting a new role. But we are so hard on ourselves, one, and in some cases we forget what it's like for other people to go through a new experience. So we forget from 3.1 to 9.9, that time on the treadmill, it takes time for that, even the machine, to get up and running. So James, you're not alone. Every single person that goes into a new role feels the same way. This is part of the reason Fraud to Fearless was born. But I think talking about that and being strong enough and confident enough and brave enough to say, I don't know, and ask for help, that helps you get to 10 faster.
Yeah, and Hayden, I would say the last piece that I loved that James spoke about was, and you just touched on it, how talking to other TAs, somebody had to have the courage to say, hey, me too. This is normal. I don't know how to do this. And so thinking and reflecting back at my times when I felt the most imposter syndrome of my life in different roles, I had a very similar thing, James, where I had a senior leader or somebody else that had been in the role, and they just said in front of people, they'd ask questions that I thought, if I ask a question or I say I don't know, I'm going to look so dumb. And they modeled it for me, which gave me the confidence and courage. So now I see you as you've learned this, as you have had this experience in your life. Now, as you continue to TA, you grow into leadership roles, you'll be able to model that for somebody else and give that relief. Like, we're just human, man. It's okay.
We have to go a little bit back into the origin story for this one, but growing up, I was pretty zany, but very reserved and introverted. Like, I just didn't like people very much. And if I had like continued on that path without any interference, I probably wouldn't be accepting an invite to a podcast right now. But luckily my parents were always super fun. And so this is important to the story. But for Spirit Days, they would make sure I always went to school all out. It's like on Crazy Hair Day, we'd have the green and the orange and then like some black polka dots or something, put me in a faux hawk. And so I just kept doing that. And then come to high school, I had like kind of put myself into a specific box. I was like, I'm okay with being like the nerd box, if that makes sense. And then there was this kid in one of my classes. His name was Peter Stratford, and he was a cool guy. If you're watching this, Peter, shout out Peter. But he saw me like come in all the Spirit Days dressed up, and he was like, Tyler, you have to do student council. Like, you would be perfect for that. And I was like, that sounds like the worst thing ever. But he kept telling me like, this would be perfect for you. So I decided to run for Spirit Commissioner, thinking I'm going to be unopposed and I can just kind of like walk in and then get into the student council class. And I was not unopposed. I had to run against 3 other guys. And so I had to
Dang.
we got like 3 big posters, one banner, and then a bunch of little flyers that we could put up in all the hallways. And it was just so bizarre, like painting my name in big letters for this giant banner. And I was like, this is the last thing that I ever thought I would be doing in high school. But it worked and I won. And like that became like my thing in high school. Like I kept doing it every single year. And then I was the student body president. And then I spoke at graduation. Like, and it didn't change like who I am functionally. Like I'm definitely still introverted in my happy place, but it like I learned how to be able to turn it on and become something more than I initially thought I was.
Dang, bro, I'm like fighting some tears a little bit already. I think what's so powerful, the follow-up question I had ready, and then you already answered it at the end, was what changed in you? Because literally the beautiful thing about your story is you didn't change. You just did something. You just put posters up and you won and you just made this amazing speech at graduation, but you were the same person. So it's like, I think that dynamic is so beautiful, Brooke, when we think about what's amazing about what this episode is going to be is you four are literally at the beginning of your careers, of your journeys. And so you already in associating with this podcast and like reflecting on imposter syndrome, you're ahead of the game because most people don't even know that they struggle with it. And I just think it's so cool for all of you to start your journeys now on overcoming self-doubt and imposter syndrome. And Tyler, I think that's an amazing story.
Thanks, Hayden. Appreciate that.
You have to send
Yeah.
me a picture about your hair with the green and the orange and I got to see that.
We need the picture.
I'll find
man.
it for you.
I know. I got chills during that because I love that. I think so many times we do think we put ourselves in a box and we're like, this is the way that I am. This is my personality. This is who I am. This is how I've always been. And that can hold us back so much in life. And so you just took the step. It was the action. And it's this point in time where you have two different paths, all of the experiences, how that shaped you just from one action, that if you would have stayed in this, we think I have to become somebody or change all of these things to do these things, but it's really just the courage to act, even when you're afraid. So I had chills in your story. Amazing, Tyler.
Yeah, for this next question, team, what was really unique about this group in corporate America, so Honeywell has 100,000 employees and we have big teams. And so when you think about that, in a previous episode, we talked about like RACI and like who's responsible, who's accountable, who needs to be consulted, who's informed. There's so many people in these big companies that we need to be very specific about who does what. And so it's like cooking dinner. Like if Brooke and I are cooking dinner, it's very easy. Like I'll cut the onion, I'll like get the burger patties ready, whatever. Brooke will get like the salad ready. It's really easy. If all six of us are cooking dinner, who's doing what? We have to get very specific about tasks. What was super cool about you four is Brooke and I think this is really awesome the way BYU sets this up, is we literally cannot give you a specific task. We have to give you kind of vague work, and you four have to self-assign those tasks. And what's fascinating, if we go back to your intros, we've got economics, we've got accounting, we've got like a general business, and we've got a user experience designer. You four have very different strengths. Talk a little bit about how you four navigated the different skill sets that you all have, the different interests that you all have, on how you assign tasks internally amongst yourselves.
I would say that, like you said, Hayden, we're all really different and have like our different strengths and stuff. And so I feel like we all kind of just like honed in on our strengths and stuff. Like, for example, and all of you guys can attest to this because you saw it, spreadsheets, not my thing. But like Rose and James were like the spreadsheet kings and queens. And like, oh, let's make a spreadsheet for this. And I was just like, I can't do that, but I'll design something on Canva. So yeah, I think, I don't know. I feel like we all really balance each other really well. I think one thing that we talked about earlier was with learning, like how important learning is. And so I feel like one thing that helped is that like none of us have done this before, so we're all like in the same boat. And but we were all willing to, even though we didn't know what we were doing, that we were all willing to learn and make mistakes and just try with whatever we do best and then improve.
I think one thing that helped us at the very, very beginning of the internship is the first like week and a half we still had like the amount of time that we had to put into the internship for the class. But we hadn't even met with you guys yet, so we're trying to spend like so much time that week trying to like put in work for the class. But we hadn't even met you guys, so we didn't really have much work to do for you guys yet. And so piece of advice from our professor was, hey, go in and just get to know each other because it's really important that you get to know your team. And so we started this tradition of just like ridiculous get to know you questions at the beginning of each meeting throughout the semester. And I feel like that was really good at helping to build trust because I like to think of it like when you go in and meet a new team or meet a new person, meet a new employer, you're really only seeing like the tip of the iceberg for like why they do what they do. Um, and so being able to go in there at the beginning of the semester and say, wow, I have no idea why Casey wants to do experience design management, and I have no idea why she would be willing to like design something on Canva. Like it beats me. But being able to like continue to get to know her throughout the semester, we were able to like figure out, hey, like she really doesn't mind doing this task that I hate, so I'm okay assigning this task that I really don't like to her because she doesn't dislike it like I do. And understanding that we all have different preferences and different things we like was really helpful.
Yeah, Hayden, I don't know about you, but I've from the get-go, anybody knows when you start on a new team, there's this awkwardness of like just the natural awkwardness that comes with getting to know somebody and you want to get to know them and then figuring out but you guys, it was like quadruple whammy. None of you knew anybody. It's a completely new experience. You have no idea who you're getting into. Like, who's Hayden? Who's Brooke? What is podcasting? What is this going to be like? And so, Rose, I love this idea of let's just ask ridiculous questions to get to know each other. I don't know if I would have done that, Hayden,
No
personally,
way.
right?
No way.
But this is a great strategy based off of your personality. You guys have worked so well together. The first time that we met, it all felt like you were on the same page. So you've done incredible with that. What was the most difficult part in the beginning for you? What was the hardest part in starting a new team?
The initial just newness and ambiguity was difficult to handle. Like you were saying, we didn't, none of us had experience with podcasts and none of us had done an internship like this before. And so we were just fighting to figure out like, how is this going to work? Right. And it's been really interesting as we've gone through this semester because we've done work for future interns trying to help them onboard quicker. Thinking through ways to smooth out that process, but that initial ambiguity I think was the most difficult part.
Yeah, I'm really, Hayden, I have this memory and I can't remember if you were there at this first meeting or whenever this happened, but the team had been doing a bunch of research. They listened to a couple of the podcasts. They came back with some feedback. They were so good at sitting there and they had just this professional demeanor and the way that they worded things. I was blown away because they were so kind. There was something that actually sucked. It was like, I can't remember what it was, Hayden. It was just, something. You guys saw so much of the behind the scenes that you're like, what is actually happening here? But the feedback, when they gave me the feedback, it was like, oh, so kind, so professional, like I can't even explain it. And so I thought that was courageous because number one, this was probably meeting 1 or 2. You guys had the courage to come in, actually speak what you thought, and that made such a big difference. So, how did you get the courage to come in and actually share those thoughts to make a difference? I feel like that creates so much imposter syndrome in and of itself.
For me, it's kind of like thinking that giving others the grace that I hope that they would give me. There was a moment, I lived in Taiwan for a while, and I got very introduced to that culture, and they always take off their shoes at the front door and put on house slippers as a way to keep their feet clean, is by not walking on the dirty floor. But in America, we're very different. We'll keep our shoes on so we're not walking on the dirty floor. And so we both have the same goal with that action. We're both trying to just keep our feet clean. But we do it through very different methods. And so I think that and living there and understanding their culture and other things that were very similar was very helpful for me to be like, oh wow, just because they do this way doesn't mean they have a different goal than me, or doesn't mean that they have different ideas than me. And so understanding I can come into a team meeting and say, hey, this is the goal. We have the same goal. How can we face this problem from the same direction rather than have a problem that's separating us? I think that gives me a lot of courage to be able to bring up things in the team meeting, understanding hey, if we make it so we're on the same team combating this problem, we might have different ways we want to combat it, but we're still going to be able to work together to solve it. And any feedback that I give or that I receive isn't meant to hurt me. It's to help me grow and to help us work together better as a team.
My favorite thing about learning about the world and working with people that are all over the world is that I think it's super naive to think that wherever we is, right? So I grew up in Utah and have lived in the US my whole life. But everybody, wherever they're from, wherever they grew up, that can be the we, that however you grew up, you think you have it all figured out. And the beautiful thing about traveling and working with people from all over the world is you can pick the best things from all the other different cultures and then implement that in your life wherever you live. So Taiwan and Charlotte, North Carolina, super far away. But I have a 1-year-old daughter who crawls around like a Komodo dragon. And so we've really been trying to implement a no shoes in the house policy. But it's really hard. So literally after this episode, I'm going to go buy some house slippers because I didn't even know that was a real thing. So me and my wife are now going to have house slippers because of you, Rose.
I'll send you some links.
Thank you.
This truly has been a one-of-a-kind team. And it's always hard when this comes to an end. Hayden, we've both been on multiple different teams. There's some groups that you meet and you're like, oh, this is so good. And I know that one day it's not going to be like this anymore. And then you want to try to recreate it. And the truth is, every team's going to be a little different and we'll never get this exact team, this exact feeling, this exact cadence again. So really appreciating that. But there's other people out there listening that maybe they haven't had the experience to work on a team like this, or maybe there's struggles in their current team. And so are there any other thoughts that come to your guys' mind? Man, this is what I learned in my team, whether it's something that you learned from somebody else. So you're like, I want to be that kind of teammate, or I want to show up in that way in my next team, or this is something that I noticed that really helped us that might help somebody else. What thoughts do you have?
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about the value of perspectives. I think I've talked about it a little bit with you guys before, but I'm a fan of escape rooms. Where you pay to get locked in a room, then you have to figure out how to get out. But
Yes.
I think
I'm
the
not sure if I
key-
like that being related to our team.
What are you trying to say, Tyler?
We're stuck with each other.
not in that way, not in that way. But for me, the key to I've never not gotten out of an escape room, and the key to always getting out is going with a group of people that each think differently enough for like, I might look at a wall with a pattern on it and I don't see anything, and so I move on, but then they look at it and they're like, oh my gosh, and then, they figure it out and they write down the code or whatever. If it was just like 8 Tylers in an escape room, I would never escape. Or if this intern group was just 4 Tylers, we would get something done, but we wouldn't have gotten as much done as we did with 4 different perspectives. But at the same time, you also have to be able to work together, even though you have different ideas on things.
Dropping truth bombs. This is so good.
TBH,
love
I'm
it.
still trying to figure out internally what zany means from Tyler's previous answer, so I'm gonna have to look that one up later. But no, Tyler, wisdom beyond your years, man. I love that.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure it means like weird or strange.
Brooke, I don't know about you, but I'm trying my best to go back and reflect on how we were like in grad school. And every time this group is together, I'm just impressed. Just impressed. Like how they work together, how they complement each other. They're all so different. But in grad school, I don't think we worked together like this. We had a whole bunch of like bulls in the china shop, and every once in a while it was like a head-on ram collision, and it wasn't pretty. This group doesn't have that. It's smooth. It flows. Did you guys have any arguments or like differences of opinion? Like what didn't go well this internship?
Spill the tea, you guys.
You guys are pretending
fell
like it's
asleep?
rosy every day. It's like, come on, you're
Yes.
working together every week. Did anything
Hated.
go wrong?
Hayden, my life's always rosy.
Yep, look at that.
I'll go. I'm pretty loud in our team meetings, and I definitely like trampled people in the first like 3 to 4 team meetings. And for me to be able to recognize, and I got some good feedback from the team as well, but to be able to recognize like, hey, I speak a lot, I talk a lot, and I want to value other people's opinions and listen. I really just had to start going into every team meeting saying, okay, today I'm gonna listen. And that was really helpful for me before I went into team meetings to say, okay, what can I do better today so that I can make sure that I'm hearing everybody else's opinions? Because just because I'm louder about my opinions doesn't mean my opinions are more right than anybody else's. So that was helpful for me to just like reflect at the end of team meeting and then go in with like a goal of being able to listen better.
This is what we need to do. Reflect on our meetings and think, I'm mostly speaking for me. What can I do better? I'm sure, as you guys have known, once you work with people for a while, you start to see all their weaknesses. And I'm sure you've seen many things in Hayden and I as leaders, but we truly have learned so much from you and the team that you are, the work that you put in, man, Hayden, I'm gonna really try hard not to get emotional, but
No.
it's been inspiring to watch you and just the impact that you've had because you've chosen to put in the work.
From my perspective, I've done a lot of really amazing things at Honeywell and done things that when I read some of the bullets like on my resume, it's like, what? I did that, but for me, like the North Star that's always the most important thing is leading the recruiting every year at Utah State and going and interacting with the next generation of the HR students, hopefully getting to have some sort of an impact on their career trajectory, and then obviously getting to select the group of interns that will then join Honeywell and be the next generation of HR leader at Honeywell from Utah State. So that to me is, in my opinion, the most important thing that I do at Honeywell, regardless of all the other big things on my resume. And it's so cool to watch you four, just like how you've evolved even from like the first meeting to not even knowing what this podcast is to now Brooke and I could leave. We could take the summer off and you four could run the pod. Like you could figure out, like, how to do it. Like now you know how the recordings work. You know how to get sponsorships. Like you guys could literally run this podcast. And I think that's super cool. Maybe a quick reflection from each of you. How do you think you grew the most in this experience?
I think in terms of like skills learned, I don't know if this is the way I grew the most, but I've never had any sort of social media at all, like Instagram or Snapchat or whatever. And so learning how to make like the reels and social media posts, and then also how to upload things onto TikTok. I did need help with that, but I feel like that's been pretty valuable. Especially we're all somewhat into the business world, but that's like a huge part of business and marketing is just knowing how to do social media. So I felt like that was really valuable.
Yeah, I have to agree with Tyler. I'm kind of like him where I'm not super on social media. And I honestly very much like Tyler with like his crazy hair day when he just would rather like sit in the corner and like not even go to school that day. Um, I very much felt that with social media. I was like, I'd rather not. Like Casey got a text from me before I was like supposed to post my first reel, and it was like, Casey, I can't. I was like, I can't do it. I was like, I need you to like sit next to me. And so I think that was huge for me, is recognizing like it's okay to get out of my comfort zone, and now I can do a little bit of social media, which is probably a really good skill.
Something that I learned from working with this podcast was some organizational skills. I did a fair amount of just organizing who did what tasks. And so it was really good for me to figure out, okay, what's the best way to go about assigning tasks? How do I keep track of what's being accomplished, when things need to get done? Especially with our longer term projects, trying to figure out how to time those things, how to split things up evenly. And that's been really good for me to figure out those sort of organizational strategies.
I feel like there's a lot of things that I could talk about that I feel like I learned, but I feel like with being on this team, I feel like I learned a lot of things from each of you. And one thing that I feel like I could talk about would be with delegation, and so um I feel like I've never had an opportunity like this before, and so with delegating everything, that was definitely um a new thing, because like you said, Brooke, you didn't give us like specific tasks. Like for each person, it was like, we need to accomplish this, and then we had to figure it out ourselves and do that. And I really feel like that will help me in the future, and something that I want to take with me after this is and as well, even when you don't know what you're doing, just saying like, oh yeah, I can take that and I can figure it out. I feel like I saw that a lot in you guys, which I like, because usually I'm like, oh, if I don't know how to do something, like I'm a quiet person, and so I'll just like sit back and wait for somebody else to take it that does know. But I really appreciate seeing you guys that, like, even if you guys didn't know what to do, saying like, oh, I can take it, I'll figure it out. And so I think I learned that.
Hayden, I'm going to ask you the same question that you just asked everybody, but I've had a thought of what I've learned from this semester, so I'm going to give you a second to think. From our perspective, I mean, you guys, I love hearing these things, because we don't know that you're sitting back there, Rose, and being like, I cannot post this reel, sit by me, right? Like, we just come to the meetings and you guys are like, it's done. And we see the posts and we're like, they're killing it. Like, what? And so we don't see this side. And I think having these conversations are so eye-opening, and probably what you might not see on our side, right? We submit this proposal, we know we're going to get a team, and the process to get it all set up. And for me, I have these fears, like, okay, I know the state of what things look like on the back end. And man, like, are they going to judge me? Is this going to be just all of these feelings but knowing as a team, we always work better. And so what I've learned through this semester and with your guys' help is, if you can just being honest, being transparent, back to where you started us off at, James, of, I don't know the right answer. Here's the reality of where things are at. this is the direction of where we want to go. And being willing to put yourself out there, maybe not look perfect, that's where the real change came. I think we really had to lean on you guys. We really needed help. And because of that, I felt like we were all able to step into these roles. There was so much more growth, innovation, all of these things. And so it was a great reminder for me that I don't have to be a perfect leader. I don't have to have everything perfect on the back end to make progress, to get things done, and to have a great experience together as a team. And that will forever bless my life. So thank you for showing up the way that you did and giving so much grace in the process of learning all of this. Hayden?
The story I'm telling myself as I'm becoming like a big leader and now leading like a global team and working with each of you and like Brooke and I, right, from a leadership perspective, my expectations of myself as a leader generally are Hayden's got to be perfect. Hayden's always got to be confident, always got to be brave, always need to know exactly what to do, and needs to exude that down to the team. But I think one of the things that I'm so grateful about this podcast is that narrative in my mind is changing. And I am a lot more comfortable now being vulnerable and being vulnerable with my team and recognizing that it's like, sometimes it's like, y'all, I'm holding on right now and I need you to help me. And I need you guys to help me help the team instead of I've got the perfect vision and this is what Rose is going to do. This is what James is going to do. This is how me and Brooke are going to work together. And so honestly, I think the biggest thing that I've learned in this experience is it's been really great for Brooke and I to, tag team this as leaders, Queen Bee, King H, right? But just, we're different. We have different styles. And I think you guys have felt that. But I also think that we look in life, there's seasons, in business, there's seasons, in jobs, there's seasons. And navigating those seasons, and I think just communicating honestly and openly and just leaning on your team when you need to, even if it's leader leaning on like team underneath. I don't think that's weakness. I actually think it's powerful. And so hopefully you guys all felt that. And it sounds like still there's been no real bad feedback so far on this episode, which makes me feel good. But I just want to say
they have to get their grade first. Then
yeah,
they'll
they got to get their grade. They got to get their grade.
Back.
You could have scheduled this for next week. Just kidding.
Yeah, they got to get their grade first. But I think one of the things that I would like to say to each of you as well is I'm not sure. I think I learn more from you than you guys probably learned from us. And that I think is just something that I'm so grateful for, is that we started right with you guys reading all of our back of the napkin notes about how Brooke and I created this thing in the beginning, and it was all gibberish, and you helped us organize that. And then, but you guys got to see kind of the dirty details. And now it's like you're helping enhance the podcast and you're coming up with Team Fearless and we're working on sponsorship deals. And it's been one semester, guys.
Hayden, I think we should close this out with just, fraud to fearless style. We did this at the beginning, but it can be a number of things, right? Speak to the one person listening. There are people that are in your same position. Maybe they're college students and they're going to start something new, or they're joining a new team, or maybe this is your future self that you need to remember, this note to self, that are just starting and have no idea of what they're doing or what is to come. What advice would you give? But then also it could be just like your biggest takeaway. Like, what is the the thing that you've learned that you think is so important to leave as your final words for somebody else? We'd love to hear from
I
everyone.
think I've got two like final words or pieces of advice that I think are super important. The first is, if you're a pretty logical person and you like thinking and making like pros and cons lists before you make decisions, I think for most decisions, the only question that you really need to ask is what's the worst possible outcome? Like if you're trying to do something fantastic, like is the worst possible outcome that you embarrass yourself a little bit? Most of the time it is. And so I would say ask yourself that. And then the second piece of advice, this is not mine. I stole this from Matt Damon on So We Bought a Zoo. But he says, sometimes all it takes is 20 seconds of insane courage. And I think that's true. Sometimes all it takes is 20 seconds. And something fantastic might come out of it.
That's what I say before I get in the cold plunge.
Exactly.
Talk about insane. Some advice I'd give for people starting in new teams. I think having fun with the team and working hard with the team are going to make a huge difference. That's what I saw, is that not only did we have fun during our meetings with our ridiculous questions, we also could rely on each other to get hard work done and work hard on that work.
My advice is to reach outward. Don't focus on yourself when you go into the team meetings, because you're the last thing that matters. If you're focused on your other team members and the project that needs to get done, and you're constantly focusing on like, how can I help this become better? And you're not focusing on yourself, that's how you're gonna have a successful team, and a successful relationships with those in your team.
I would say for me, something that I would say to another person is just realizing that fear is normal and it's a part of life. And I've definitely learned a lot from this podcast and making reels and everything, and just in the meetings, just realizing that fear is normal. And on well, I have to have like reminders around me, and so like I don't know if some of you guys have noticed, my lock screen, it says like, but what if it all works out? And I have it on my laptop screensaver, and I also have it on my wall in my room. And I feel like I lots of times can have like really negative thoughts, or think that the worst case scenario is going to happen or whatever. But just like taking a step back and zooming out and just realizing like I can think about the like, what if it doesn't work out? But why would I do that? Like, I need to think, what if it does work out? And with just the mindset switch of that. And I saw something just a couple days ago that I was like, oh, I definitely needed to see it. It was talking about switching from what if to even if with that. And so it's like, oh, what if this doesn't work out? What if I can't handle this? What if this? What if that? But changing it to, even if it doesn't work out, I can take accountability, or I can take it one step at a time. Or what if I fail? It's like, well, you have another day. Even if you fail, you can try again. And so just like taking a step back and giving yourself grace.
Oh my goodness. I love that. Even if, what a 2 words, so powerful. Even if I fail, even if the worst case scenario happens, even if whatever else, we always have a choice. And fear is normal.
So I have, in Hayden's view, my word for each, and then I'll give a little sign off, and then I'll do like kind of group advice for the 4. So you think about how you want to, we end every episode with like our reflections. They just did it. Our turn. So, in my screen, Casey's first. So Casey, my word for you is imagination. I think that It's been really cool to watch you come out of your shell in this experience. I think you have so much valuable insight and thoughts in your mind. And it is so clear to me that you are so gifted from a design perspective. I think you're in the right field. I think you can do amazing things once you fully unlock your ability to use your design brain and then communicate that effectively to any sort of person, whether it's an accountant, an engineer, an HR person, whatever. I think you're going to do some special things. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Next, James, my word for you is leader. I just think from the very beginning, it just seems like leadership is just something that's so natural for you. It doesn't seem like you're trying hard. It feels like this is just who you are. I see you leading teams, whether you're in a manager role or an individual contributor. I still see you finding ways to be a leader in whatever you end up doing. I think you can communicate effectively. And the thing that I'm most impressed with is oftentimes folks that are natural leaders have ego, and you don't. At least I haven't seen it. And so just your ability to be to show humiliation and vulnerability, but also hold a high bar and expectations, that dynamic is really special, whether it's corporate America or entrepreneurship. Tyler, my word for you is inspirer. The funny thing is, I didn't get to see this that much in the weekly calls because it was mostly like ops reviews and like work updates. I mean, some of the stuff you've said on this episode, man, like we got to get you back and give you your own episode, man. Like you're a motivational speaker. I think your story at the beginning, like really I connected with. It's funny because you also are going to go into accounting, which is what I went to. And so I saw some of my younger self in you, which anytime you do that in life, it's just kind of an interesting, reflective experience. But there's few accountants that are inspiring. And I'd like to think I'm one. And it sounds like you're on your way to being number two. And so I'm proud of you, man. Like, I think finding that balance of, look, when I was in accounting school, we never talked, we never did group presentations. We worked individually and did our homework. And so it was a very big culture shock when I went into the Master of HR program and had to present. And I think I've told that story in a previous episode and you all have probably heard it. But I think you can literally do whatever you want. So dream big. Rose, I intentionally wanted you to go last. My word for you is actually, I don't love your word that much. I think I could do better, but hey, I did this in a pinch and I just barely read the end of the Google Doc. So my word for you is driven. So for those listening, every week we had an ops review, and with Brooke's leadership, each of the interns took turns leading like the presentation of that ops review, which I think was a great experience. For some, it came more naturally. For others, it was harder. Rose, when you led your ops review, my takeaway was I would hire you tomorrow and you could come be my chief of staff and I would just throw you into chaos and you would figure it out and you would tell me what's going to kill me, how we're going to fix this. It honestly was better than some of the project managers that we have at Honeywell. Like I would literally hire you tomorrow. And so I think, look, economics would be lucky to have you. But, you know, if whatever you want to do, I think, again, like dream big. But I was so impressed. And honestly, for all four of you, it was very hard for me to think that you're undergrad students because I think of what I was like at undergrad, and I was like, man, I was like bottom of the barrel. How did I even get into grad school? So I know I'm taking a lot of time, but my final advice and kind of reflections, this is Tyler's fault because he started speaking my language on the motivational stuff. So now it's my turn. One of my favorite motivational speakers. His name is Les Brown. If you don't know that name, you should Google him on YouTube. He was homeless and didn't have any money, and then he started his own motivational speaking company and consulting company. And in college, I didn't really have any friends and didn't really talk to anyone, so I would just watch Rocky, the Rocky Balboa series, and I would listen to Les Brown's videos on YouTube just in my dorm by myself. So Les Brown's videos just play sometimes in my head. And there's this amazing speech that he talks about his son named John Leslie. And he's playing a card game with John Leslie, and it's getting late. And Les Brown says, all right, John, like it's time to go to bed. But Les kept winning the game. So he kept beating his son at this card game. And John Leslie goes, no, Dad, it ain't over until I win. And so Les then does it, and he has these super passionate speeches with football stadiums full of people. And he's like, what if we all took that approach to life? What if we all said, you know what? It ain't over until I win. And I think it's super passionate. It's super inspiring. But all four of you, whether it's it ain't over until I win, that is how I want you to leave this experience. Dream big. Now recognize it ain't over until I win means you're gonna lose. You're gonna fail. You're gonna be embarrassed. You're gonna do things you probably shouldn't. It's gonna take some ramp up time to get from 3 to 10 on the treadmill. Give yourself some grace. But at the end, if you don't give up, even if it's not going to be over until you win. And I'm just so proud of all four of you. Thank you deeply for you guys have literally made a huge impact on this podcast. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening, enjoyed the experience, enjoyed working with Brooke and I. We have enjoyed working with you, but I want all four of you to do incredible things, and I have no doubt that you have the capability to do it.
Thanks, Aiden.
I'm literally speechless. Like I can't even. That was so good. Man, beautiful words. This is what I have to say. If this episode impacted you, show us some love. What were some of the words that impacted you the most? Give a shout out to our interns in the comments. Make their day. Subscribe, rate us. We love you guys. Thanks for being a part of Team Fearless. Whatever you want to do, wherever you're starting, wherever you're at in this journey, join the club. You have a seat at this table. We're all the same. We're all learning. And it's okay if you don't know.
And
That's
The
Pod.
Team Fearless
Woo!
out.
Team Fearless out.